So in this video we're going to be talking about order flow transition. Now, as I said, and I think I said it in every video, like, don't be too confused with the new terms that you're following. Obviously, if you follow the old course, you obviously wouldn't, this stuff would seem new to you. But this is the intuition phase, is to show you the ins and outs of how the rule-based strategy was actually created. So in this video, we're going to talk about order flow transition. Now, order flow transition. Now, the main thing you need to think about first to start off with is that order flow is the process of mitigation, right? Let me draw this out. Okay. So what I mean by that is you have breaker structure, mitigation of an OB, breaker structure, mitigation of an OB, right? Same thing here, breaker structure, mitigation of an OB, breaker structure, mitigation of an OB. Now, using the extremes, okay, is the reason why I say that is because generally it is the last point of mitigation before the whole move was created. Now, sometimes you have situations like this where the successful retrace, in our instance, is like this, where there's no form of mitigation in this sense, and generally price would react to the extreme. Just generally price will react to the extreme purely because it's either grabbing liquidity or it has mitigated something previously. Okay, and the thing here is this can be used as a liquidity point. But the thing is, we will never know where price is going to react. If we knew that, then obviously we'll all be millionaires, right? We need people to lose. That's how the markets work. Okay, we need people to lose so we can win, and we need to lose so other people can win. Okay, that's just the way that things go. However, we need to increase our chances as much as possible, and the reason why I say stick to the extreme is purely because of the fact it's generally the last point of mitigation. This is the only anomaly that you'll have, because obviously your textbook scenario is when you have this. Say you had the first break, mitigation, so rule 1, mitigation, and then you have the second break from the successful retrace, and your ideal entry is going to be here. Your ideal entry is at the successful retrace that mitigates the impulsive OB. However, obviously sometimes, as I said, if the impulsive OBs mitigate something in the past, and it's fair enough, you're better off following the order flow in that situation. But even that, whilst that's even still being said, when we have this situation, the OB at the successful retrace is still valid. Okay, it doesn't take that away, because what we need to realize is price, if it has enough liquidity, it doesn't need to grab the liquidity from here to continue higher. And remember about OBs is the fact that it doesn't need to be mitigated straight away. Okay, OBs are future POIs. Okay, so that means its price can react or violate. Okay, it's either one of those two. Doesn't have to respect it all the time. Okay, and it doesn't always need to come back. So don't fall in the loop of don't fall in the loop of marking out every single OB, and then you're waiting for your unmitigated OB and price is just leaving without you because you're completely ignoring what it's doing. Okay, so in this video we're going to talk about how to understand when order flow changes. Okay, now generally this will seem like it's trading a reversal. However, the process that we trade in, because if we're thinking about this from a higher time frame perspective, so say this is higher time frame, you have your higher time frame POI, and then obviously prices come in when price comes to here. What we're expecting is, obviously we're expecting a change of trend on the lower time frame to continue lower. Okay, oops. Okay, there we go. We're expecting a change in trend. There we go. Now it looks clearer. We're expecting a change in trend on the lower time frame, right? So the whole process of looking for a reversal is pretty much the same. We are doing a higher time frame or whatever your high time frame is. I'm not saying specific time frames here. Whatever your higher time frame is, it could be the 5 minute, could be 15 minute, could be the hour, 4 hour, whatever it is. We are still trading a somewhat of a reversal, but it's the higher time frame continuation. Okay, the reason why this is a high probability, if it was a continuation, is purely because we have that moment, we have that stage of process of mitigation. Say something mitigated, I don't know, something up here, right? We have that process of mitigation with that invalidation point, so pro trend makes sense. Okay, but essentially we're still looking for that counter trend move. So how does this work? Okay, so structure and order flow sort of combine. Okay, so let's think about let's zoom into this. Why did Tanzan? No, there you go. Okay, so in this situation, right, let's focus on this part where we have okay, and then let's look at the build up to that. Okay, so what's happening here is we're having so in the build up to it, now I do this very bad, but what we have breaker structures, mitigation, breaker structures, let's just say that this mitigated that, and we have mitigation. So we obviously have bullish order flow, and then what happens is when you break the structure, now as I said, you don't always get a liquidity grab, but when you do, obviously you do. But in this situation, when you have this move and you're obviously trying to follow the process, let's make this more clear. There you go. You're trying to follow the process of the mitigation that's happening. So you have mitigation, 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 and then suddenly the mitigation fails. This is our rule 1, right? That's rule 1, which is also intent. So what does intent mean? Intent is bearish order flow intent, as well as bearish structure intent. Okay, I don't know why the writing's so big. There we go. Okay, that's what the intent is. So what that means is that we have to potentially be alert that price could change in trend here, purely because we have the fractured order flow, okay, and the breaking structure. However, this is not confirmed until we get a second break. So that is rule 2. Okay, rule 2 is when you get a second break. So rule 1, intent, rule 2 is a second break. Not only that, in this example, what we have is mitigation. So this bearish intent, okay, this bearish order flow intent is confirmed by the process of mitigation, which now means we are now playing into bearish order flow. So the next entry from the mitigation is the safest entry possible. Now, if we think about the initial course of our 2 rules, what do I always say is the second entry is always the highest probability, purely for this reason of the transition of order flow and structure. Okay, that is the main reason why this is the confirmation change in trend, right? So I hope that clears things up in terms of why the 2 rules, why the 2 rules are what they are. It's fully based on that situation. So, but I wanted to make it as simple as possible. So let me show you an example. Let me find where it was. Where was it? It was yesterday. Here. Okay. So in this situation, this has everything in it, right? However, we're not looking at the higher time frame perspective, because this is the textbook sort of style to sort of look for. Okay. So what we have is we have the low. Yeah, we have the low. Okay, and we have the high which got broken. So this is your intent, right? That's your intent. And now in this case, we look for our POI. That wick is obviously our strong POI, is a wick trick, and we see if there's a reaction or not. And what we see is we have a mitigation of that POI, which then eventually led to the breaker structure. So this breaker structure here, okay, confirms the two rules, okay, and it confirms now bullish order flow. Okay, that's what that confirms. So now looking for an entry now is the safest option, and the only thing we should be looking for is an excuse to go long. Okay, so we look where our next POI is. So if we're following the mitigation, right, what we have this mitigation point. So that is a point of invalidation below here. This wick, okay, was covered by this one here, okay, which now becomes our point of invalidation in terms of order flow, okay. And although here what we have is we have a low, which then eventually we had a new high from this low here. So our successful retraces here. Now look at the comparison between the two, and think to yourself which one has higher probability. The highest probability is obviously the one where the mitigation is and where order flow is. That's exactly where price reacts from to continue the trend. And then order flow transitions again as we go further on, where we have a new high, okay. Where's the low that made the high? Was here, which then got broken, and the POI for the first initial short got mitigated, and then price went on to break structure. So that, okay, that is our intent, and this confirms the order flow transition. And we are basically looking for this in all of our entry points using the confirmation entry. Obviously, if you're using a risk entry, then it's different. Risk entry is obviously a risk entry as it's called. But if you're looking for a confirmation, this is where the two rules has come from, and this is why I also say to move up the time frames, because this could potentially have broken again, right? We would have missed the fact that mitigation was here, and we still need to make sense of it, because if it was to break up again, we need to go up the time frame to see if this mitigation lines up with the other time frames, okay? Because generally what will happen is price will come to the extreme of the range, right? Because when you get a breaker structure on any time frame, what do you expect? Okay, you expect a retrace, expect a retrace, expect a retrace. That's the way the markets move, right? Obviously not in straight lines like that, but that's the way the markets move. So if we follow in the 1 minute time frame, obviously following the change of trend, and here we ignore the fact that the high time frame just broke its high in this example, and so that means is we should expect a retrace, which is why we need to go up the time frame so we don't ignore the fact that this is happening. That's the whole reasoning behind that. So in terms of order flow transition, to give you a good summary, what we're looking for is to have that fracture of order flow. So that's our intent, which is in this example, is a bullish intent, which is our rule 1. And rule 2, we're looking to confirm, sorry, that's this one. That was our intent, that's rule 2. So, and then rule 2, we're looking to confirm our change in trend, or confirm our trend. And not only to confirming trend, it's also confirming order flow. So I hope this video helps clear things up in terms of looking for the transition of order flow.